What's going on, YouTube? Just want to welcome you guys to my channel. My name is Nick Beveridge, and as you can see, big Philadelphia Phillies fan, and I really just wanted to start this channel as a place where we can just come and talk about our fighting Phils. And as you know, we're just 2 days away from the home opener, and I'm pumped up, man. I mean, we're talking about a team that has had back-to-back NLCS appearances, a couple games in the World Series, one win away from last year. I just want to come here, talk to y'all about it, and really just discuss what are our expectations for this 2024 Philadelphia Phillies team. So let's jump right into it. Man, I really just want to start this video off by just talking to you guys about, what do you think the expectations are for this 2024 Philadelphia Phillies team? We're coming off a 2023 season which you won 90 plus games, where you were essentially choked away a World Series berth. I mean, you were one game away. You were right there, 2 games at home to close it out, couldn't get the job done. 2022, you were in the World Series. We're up 2-1 in that World Series. I mean, so what are we thinking that our expectations are this year? To me, the sky's the limit. You're returning your entire lineup. You extended Zach Wheeler. You re-signed Aaron Nola. You've got Ranger Suarez to start the season healthy. He's available. I mean, essentially, based on our off-season moves, we basically said, let's just run it back how it was. We're confident that this team can compete for a World Series. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that. I think this team is capable of competing for a World Series, and we've seen that. Based on the previous 2 seasons, they have been right there. They are knocking on the door from that illustrious World Series title that we have been wanting since 2008. But is that too lofty of an expectation? I mean, is 3 back-to-back-to-back NLCS appearances, is that too much to expect? I mean, seriously, we're talking about, the Astros have been to 6 ALCSs in a row. But when I look at that, I think that is out of the norm. I mean, I don't think that is normal what the Astros are doing. I mean, they are on a dynasty run. Yeah, they've come up a little short in the big one a couple times, but I mean, you can basically lock it in that they're going to be in the ALCS every year. And is that sustainable? What was it? The ESPN rankings came out and they ranked us as the 4th best roster in baseball. And man, that made me happy. But when you look on that list, 2 of the other teams on that are in your league with the Dodgers and the Braves. And I'll give my division picks in a different video, but I'm not really picking us to win the division this year. I just don't see us competing with the Braves over 162 game stretch. So what are our realistic expectations for the Phillies this season? Can we really win a World Series? Can we compete for a World Series? Can we win the division? That's what we're going to talk about in this video right here. So what are our regular season expectations? My regular season expectations are that we're going to be really good offensively, and we're going to lean on our 2 aces to win us a lot of games, along with Ranger Suarez, Taijuan Walker when healthy, Christopher Sanchez. But do we have what it takes to really compete in the division? I'm not sure. And the reason I say that is because we have started off so slow the past 2 seasons, and we cannot start off slow this season. The Phillies' first 30 games are very manageable, very winnable games. We have to start off strong if we want to compete with the Braves in the division. I'm expecting the Braves to win 100 plus games this year. They have an excellent lineup, excellent rotation, excellent ball club. They're going to win 100 games this year, just like they did last year and the year prior. So I'm not expecting them to fall off. But what I'm also not expecting is for the Phillies to start off as slow as they have in the past couple of seasons. And we have a reason to believe that maybe that doesn't happen this time. Bryce Harper is here. He's available. He's healthy. I think he is going to win a couple games by himself. I mean, he is, like Dave Dombrowski said, he's worth the price of admission. But what we also need is for Kyle Schwarber to show up a little bit earlier than June. we love June Schwarber. We all do. It's awesome seeing Kyle Schwarber really heat up in June every single year and have just a monster month. And I love it. I hope it happens again. But I'd also like it for it to happen maybe mid-April, maybe end of April. Sometime a little sooner than June would be nice because we need him. We need Kyle Schwarber to be successful. I also think that Trey Turner is not going to have the type of season that he had last year. Trey Turner is one of the best shortstops in baseball, and he had a pretty abysmal year last year, and I just do not see that happening again. I think he is going to have a bounce-back year. He's going to prove why he was an all-star, and he's actually one of my picks to make the all-star game this year. I think he is, especially towards the end of last year, he really started to come on and feel at home in Philadelphia, and I think he's just going to prove why he's one of the best shortstops in baseball this year. He's going to have a pretty solid year defensively, and he's going to do a lot better at the plate than he did last year. And I'm also expecting some of our younger guys to take maybe even another step. Alec Boehm is a guy I'm really looking at, and I was really pleasantly pleased with last year in the step that Alec Boehm did take. I mean, you're talking about a guy who said, I hate this place, to a guy who had a pretty fantastic season for us last year. I mean, he improved tremendously defensively and became, honestly, an above-average defenseman at third base. And he kind of showed some flashes of power. I'm expecting him to take another step in the power department. I want to see him hit 25 home runs this year. If Alec Boehm hits 25 home runs this year, we're going to be in good position. Bryson Stott's another guy that I'm looking at. He really cemented himself last year as what I thought a top 10 second baseman in baseball. While I think a lot of the major, media outlets underrated him, I don't think people in MLB did. I think Bryson Stott really cemented himself as one of the premier second basemen in baseball. You're talking about a guy who can field, he can hit, he can, take ABs, see his pitches and walk, and I mean, he's really kind of like, he's the whole package. I mean, this is a guy who obviously is not going to hit for a ton of power, but we don't need him to. We have other guys in this lineup that can hit the home runs. We don't need him to be a 20 home run guy to be successful. Another guy that I'm looking forward to seeing is Brandon Marsh. I am a huge Brandon Marsh advocate. I think he is great defensively. I think he is vital to the clubhouse. I mean, obviously his post-game interviews are hilarious with, dumping water on everybody, the daycare, all that. It's great. But he's a really good ball player, I mean, he can hit, he can field. We definitely won that trade with the Angels when we got him. And I think that's another guy that, he's still young, he's growing. I think that's another guy where if he can improve his, his hitting against lefties, I think it's a really scary lineup when you start looking at it 1 through 9. Obviously, we know what Nick Castellanos can do. He had a fantastic season last year. He's actually a guy that I'm not really expecting to have as good of a season as he had last year this year, and that's no hate to Nick Castellanos. I just, he's a little inconsistent at the plate at times, and with him having such a great season last year, I don't know if he can have back-to-back great seasons like he had. That's not to say that he can. I'm just not sure. I don't want to bank on that personally. And so that's why I think this is a team that can win, that I'm expecting to win 95 games this year. And I still think they're going to finish second in their division. I just don't think they're going to compete with the Braves over a 162-game season. But, with that being said, we beat them back-to-back years in the playoffs. I'm definitely not scared of the Braves in any way. I think we can go out there and beat them in a 3-game series. I think we could go out there and beat them in a 5-game series. And I think we could beat them in a 7-game series. I'm not scared of the Atlanta Braves. But over the course of 162 games, I just think their lineup and their pitching staff might be a little bit more consistent than ours. And you know how those Philadelphia Phillies are. We always lose a series to, a team like the Rockies. And it's like, dude, how did you lose that series? I don't know. We're the Philadelphia Phillies. That's what it is. They're just a little bit more consistent on that front. So I think we are going to compete for the division title this year. It's not going to be a blowout. But I ultimately think we're going to end up having that wild card spot just like we've had the previous 2 seasons. So where do I think this team can go? I think this is a team that's capable of getting to the World Series. I mean, like I said before, I'm not scared of the Atlanta Braves. The Dodgers always choke. I think this is a team that can definitely make a run for the World Series. But is that the expectation? Like, am I going to be disappointed this year if we do not make the World Series? I think personally, as a fan, yes. Maybe as like just a baseball fan in general, I would say no. I mean, making the World Series 2 out of 3 years, I mean, that's tough. Making the NLCS 3 years in a row, that's tough, especially when you were coming off an 11-year playoff drought to just make back-to-back NLCS appearances. I mean, is that too lofty? Is that too lofty for a team like the Philadelphia Phillies? I'm not sure. I don't want to have that disappointment at the end of the season, but I'm also trying to balance of like, what is successful for us? What is a successful season for us? I don't want to say that it's World Series or bust, because it's hard to get back there. It's not an easy thing to make the World Series every single year. There's so many teams who do not make it as far as we've made it the past 2 seasons. So can we truly expect to get back there again? I think yes and no. I think we have a lineup and a rotation that is very capable of being back there, but at the same time, if it was the Dodgers and the Braves in the NLCS, would I be like, oh, well, we deserve to be there, or we were better than them? I mean, honestly, at this point, I would say no. I mean, they've got, on paper, a better roster. I mean, yeah, we were ranked 4th in the ESPN rankings that came out, but we were still 3rd in the NL. I mean, we were still guaranteed a wild card spot just based off the power rankings, and we were ranked in the top 5. I mean, the Dodgers made serious moves this offseason to position themselves to make that World Series run. And I fully expect them to be competing for the NLCS World Series this year. In Atlanta, at some point, you just gotta feel like they're gonna click in the postseason. Yeah, the Phillies have stopped them 2 years in a row. Could we do it a third? I think a Phillies fan, you'd be a little hesitant to say, yeah, even the truest of fan would say, yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily want to face the Braves 3 years in a row. I mean, we've got them the first 2 times. They're looking for vengeance. They've come back strong. Chris Sale, they've made some moves themselves. So, of course, I'm confident that, yeah, bring it on. I'd love to play them. I'd love to see them again. But at the end of the day, I mean, we got some other great teams in the NL. So what can this team accomplish? I don't want to say it's a World Series or bust season for myself. I think this team, what I hope for is, yeah, that we're, having a parade on Broad Street. We're beating the Yankees. They're not going to make it. But, we're beating the Yankees in the World Series. We're having a parade on Broad Street. That would be a dream. What am I expecting this season to go? I think we are going to make the wild card spot. I think we're going to win 95 games. I think we're going to win our wild card series. And honestly, I think depending who we play, whether it's Atlanta or the Dodgers, I would rather play Atlanta over the Dodgers. We might come up short in the NLDS. And this is just my prediction, right? And if you disagree, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Definitely leave me your thoughts and what you think this season's going to go. I want to hear what y'all's realistic expectations are, because that's what I want to talk about. Is what is our realistic expectations? Like, yeah, every fan base would love to say, oh, we're going to win the World Series this year, but like every fan base is not. There's a team who is capable of getting there. what is realistic for us? I think right now I'm kind of leaning on this is a team that could maybe make the NLCS again. I'm just not sure about the World Series. I think the NL is really tough this year. I think our division individually has weakened a little bit. I don't think the Mets are going to be anything. I think the Marlins are going to be a little bit worse. The Nationals may be the worst team in baseball. But it's the NL as a whole. I think they're going to be a little bit better than they were last year. The Braves really strong. Dodgers really strong. I think the Giants are going to make the playoffs. I think the Padres are going to have another bounce back year and make the playoffs. And then, of course, you got the Cubs and the Reds, kind of lurking. I'm not sure about the Brewers. They've really made some really weird moves this offseason with trading away Corbin Burns. I'm not really sure the direction they're headed, but they could be lurking. So I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure. But one thing I am sure of is that I'm super excited for opening day. I'm gonna be in Philadelphia for the entire weekend. We're going to all 3 games. And it's going to be a blast, man. I think we're going to get out to a strong start. I think we're going to win 2 out of 3 against the Braves. I cannot wait for Bryce Harper to hit another home run off of Spencer Strider on opening day. That'll be a dream come true. So, yeah, if you like this kind of content, just please like, subscribe. I'm going to be talking all things Philadelphia Phillies, all things NL East. And if you just like to hear random stuff about baseball, yeah, consider giving it a like and a follow. And with that being said, I'll see you next time. Peace.